So hello everyone. So in this time, I will discuss on how to develop a authentic assessment process. So I prepared here a flowchart wherein these are contained in the developing process of authentic assessment. So first, identify the standards. To create a authentic assessment, we will able to determine the standards. So we will have here a guidelines in writing standards. So when we create a authentic assessment, it should not include mention of the specific task. Like for example, the student will write an essay about Jose Rizal's life. So this is very specific. So what we have to do, it is not too general and not too specific, okay? And it should be clear when we make a standards, wherein who those read our standards will able to understand it, especially to our students. So next, the select an authentic task. So here, we will have a guidelines in selecting a task. Our authentic task will base in our standards. So after the standards identified, it allows a student to demonstrate their knowledge and skills. For example, Teacher Angel gave a task from her students to make an e-journal every time they have face-to-face classes at school, wherein they will put all what they have learned every time they take a lesson. And the students should be more creative compared to the e-journal sample shown by the teacher. So here, they can use the knowledge and skills in the real world. So the third one, identify the criteria for the task. We have a guidelines in making a criteria. So this means an indicators of good performance on a task. Students will use criteria to evaluate on how they complete the task, and thus how will they met the standard or standards. And it also support a structured decision-making process and ensure that decisions made and alternative selected support the desired outcomes and action.
So let's move on here in the last part, which is create the rubric. So in this part, we have a guidelines in making the rubric. So first, we need to set the criteria. For example, we have the criteria of cohesiveness, coherence, content, the creativity of writing, and etc. So these are the criteria, and when we join them all together, it will now become a rubric. So this is not the last for each criteria because we must provide a specific score in each criteria. Like for example, in cohesiveness has 10 points, and in coherence have 5 points, and so on and so forth. So combine all of these now become a rubric.
And we have two types of rubric, which is the analytic and the holistic. So here in analytic, when we say analytic rubrics, it is detailed. Like for example, the rubric that is in the Google Classroom of Edu12, which is the scoring rubric for our presentation today's afternoon. And the teacher or the instructor will provide the score for each criteria. So the details we are talking about is the descriptors, wherein it will show here if what the students expect from this rubric. So while here in holistic rubric, it means we will do here a general assessment wherein we will consider all of the criteria and it creates a single scale like 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 scoring rubric and only one description per level. This is very useful when the teachers are scoring simple skills or behaviors that do not have many components. So as simple as that, okay? So that's all. Thank you for listening.